It's a psychological interview that you're doing. You're sort of being my psychiatrist, and maybe I could use a psychiatrist every once in a while. No, it's pretty cool.
Not campaigning Donald Trump, just real Donald Trump. How do you deal with that stress in your most private moments?
So
let me ask you two areas I want to talk to you about that's going to be different because I'm different, so let me be different. You have a personality-driven platform, just like I do. Mine's a fraction of yours. You've taken every shot you can imagine. You've been criticized, attacked, called every name in the book. They've turned the judicial system against you, the intelligence community. 51 intelligence officers swear that this is a Russian plant, this laptop over here, right before the election. The media has turned against you, print, TV, radio, internet.
Let's watch an excerpt from Dr. Phil's psychological interview with President Donald Trump. You can check the entire interview at Dr. Phil Primetime on the Merit Plus app or Donald J. Trump on YouTube.
But you're not against immigration.
No, I'm totally for it. But
we need it.
I think we need it desperately. But I don't want their prisoners, and I don't want their people from mental institutions, and I want people to come in legally. I want to let people come in. We need it. We do need it. We need people. But we need good people. We need people that aren't going to blow up our shopping centers and kill people.
Let me ask you two areas I want to talk to you about that's going to be different because I'm different, so let me be different. You have a personality-driven platform, just like I do. Mine's a fraction of yours. You've taken every shot you can imagine. You've been criticized, attacked, called every name in the book. They've turned the judicial system against you, the intelligence community. 51 intelligence officers swear that this is a Russian plant, this laptop over here, right before the election. The media has turned against you, print, TV, radio, internet, in the streets. Not campaigning Donald Trump, just real Donald Trump. How do you deal with that stress in your most private moments?
So, two things. Number one, I don't like thinking about it. Out of sight, out of mind. I don't know if that makes sense to you. I don't want to think about it. Number two, I have tremendous support. I have the people's support. I think if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to handle it so easily. When a judge who has conflicts like nobody's ever had wants to put me in jail, when he puts a gag order and say, if you talk about these things, we're going to put you in jail. And I'm the Republican candidate. I was president. I'm leading the Democrat by a lot. He wants to put me in jail. I like not to think about it. It's like they say, oh, don't eat that food, don't eat this food, don't do this, don't do that. They don't really know. It might be good for you. It might not be bad. It might be good. They say it causes cancer. I say, don't talk to me about it. I don't want to hear the word. I don't want to. It's out of sight, out of mind. I think I have a very good disposition for trauma. But I have great support, Phil. The one thing is, because you mentioned lots of groups, and you're right about that, but I also have great support within the media. You know, there's a group of people in the media. You might be one of them. You're a very important force. The fact is, I've watched you so long. I just felt so confident when you called. I said, you know, otherwise, what do I have to subject myself to it for? Does it make sense? But I find it to be a very different and very interesting it's a psychological interview that you're doing. You're sort of being my psychiatrist, and maybe I could use a psychiatrist every once in a while. No, it's pretty cool. But I try not to think about. I try not to go into that. And very importantly, I have tremendous support. I have support from the people. You look at the polls, and they agree with me. There's sort of a silent majority. You know, it's a term that's been used over the years, but it's a true term. I have the support of many more people than they have, if we call they the bad guys. And I think if I didn't, or if I felt I didn't, I would not be quite the same person.
You know, we all have a personal truth. You know, it's that what we believe about ourselves when we don't have our mask on, when we don't, you know, I put on a nice suit. You know, I'm going to see the president here.
Nice suit.
I want to be credible.
Looks good.
And we, you know, we put our best foot forward when we step out into the world. But we do have a personal truth that what we believe about ourselves at our most vulnerable, when nobody's looking, nobody's listening. Maybe it's 3 o'clock in the morning, we wake up looking at the ceiling, thinking, what the hell am I doing? What do you say to yourselves when the crowds aren't cheering? When you're home alone, you're riding in the car, you're by yourself. What is the hardest, darkest moment that you can think of in this journey you've been on the last several years?
You have to be very strong. You're fighting off very evil forces, and they're very smart forces. There are people that control Biden, totally true. I think I know who they are largely. But there are people that control him. They're very smart, very energetic. Possibly they're real believers, what their sick ideology is. But you have to be smart, and you have to have confidence. I mean, you have to have a certain confidence. The other thing is, I realize over the years, I've been through a lot, great and bad. I won the presidency. Everybody said, how are you going to do? How good is that? It was the most incredible evening, one of the most incredible evenings in the history of the country. Look at the celebration. I mean, it was incredible. But you also go through bad. I also I understand fully that the bad also disappears. In other words, you'll go through bad moments, and it disappears. It's sort of funny because I've watched your show a lot over the years. See, I'm not ashamed to say it because some people say, oh, you watch Dr. Phil. Well, your show is a very smart show. And I've watched you ask a question similar to that to some couple or and they break down, they start crying on the show. I said, that's never happening to me. If that happens to me, that's the end of my political career. I think maybe people would like me better. But I'll tell you what, you need strength. You have to have strength. And people don't want to see that. I've watched so many people, you break down people, they don't even know they're being broken down. But it's different.
Well, that's the last thing I want to do with you, but I do want people to know you. I want people to know every aspect of you, and I know it about myself. I know that not every time is a great day, not every time is a hard day.
I thought you led a charmed life. You never had a problem in your life, right?
Yeah. I watched you during that trial. That's not a fun time.
It was an icebox. That courtroom was so cold.
Really?
And I believe it was set that way by the judge. That courtroom was freezing. I'd call it the icebox, right? I just sat through 4 hours, and I'm not campaigning by doing that. That's what angered me. They're taking away my voice. They're keeping me in this icebox, and they're taking away my voice. But, one thing you bring it up, and you haven't asked me the question yet, and I'm sure you will, although I know we've been doing this for quite a while, and it's an honor to do it. But the hardest part for me is probably my family, because it's very unfair to my family. I have a very good wife. She reads this crap. I have great kids.